So what gets you all fired up and motivated to do your job? For me, I say it every time I start one of my videos. Hey, my name is Werner Puchert, and I believe that most of the world's problems are just interesting design challenges in disguise. Now, that is not always true for everybody. Sometimes you have to go out and find some real motivating factors, and that's especially hard when you have to lead a team. And I know, for example, that I am no Tony Robbins, and for that, I need to turn to other experts, find tools, and for this video I'm going to cover this tool. It's called Moving Motivators. I got this copy from Management 3.0, and want to quickly just dive into what is inside this little box here, and then how and where you could use this to figure out what motivates yourself or your team members. Now, as mentioned, I grabbed this little card deck, little box from Management 3.0, and then when you crack this open, you'll see inside a set of, you guessed it, cards. And there's a total of 10 cards here, labeled Moving Motivators on the one side, and then you have a whole set of illustrated cards here, 10 of them to be specific, which is referred to as intrinsic motivators. Now, I joked a little bit around cash at some point, and of course, we all want to earn some good money to pay off all our debts or buy that next kind of exciting design tool that we want. But for most people, and I know, for example, the folks that I'm working with, of course, they appreciate a little bit of cash at the end of the month. But then also I know that because they are professionals, they value what they do themselves, they value their own skill sets. There's certain things that really keeps them motivated, or you can flip that around, certain things that might happen in the team or at work that might demotivate them. And for each team member, that is different. And this is where this interesting little tool comes into play. Now, I don't usually do this, but for this card deck, I think it's quite simple and straightforward. It's freely available. So let's go through the 10 intrinsic motivators before we get into how you use them. Now, the first one here is very relevant, or kind of one I love, is curiosity. I have plenty of things to investigate and to think about. Then you have honor, is that I feel proud that my personal values are reflected in how I work. You have acceptance, very important, very topical. The people around me approve of what I do and who I am. Mastery is that my work challenges my competence, but it's still within my capabilities or abilities. Power is that there's enough room for me to influence what happens around me. Freedom is I am independent of others with my work and my responsibilities. Then we move over to relatedness. I have good social contacts with the people in my work. Now remember, if you think about this, you want to think about things that motivate you, right? So some of these are important to you and some is maybe less important. Then there's a motivator around order. There are enough rules and policies for a stable environment for folks who want more stability. Status, how important is that to you? My position is good and recognized by the people who work with me. And then, of course, there's the last one here, goal. My purpose in life is reflected in the work that I do, right? So you can see here 10 motivators, a little bit of a description on here. And I didn't read them off in a specific order. I kind of gave the game away by using the word order, because what you want to do is you want to go into a space where you either sit by yourself if you're doing this kind of motivation exploration for yourself, or you have a one-on-one with a team member and you give them these 10 cards and then ask them to order these cards in what is least important to them to what is more important to them, and you want to do it kind of in a horizontal line. Now for this, I have the physical cards. I love having the physical cards, but then for this example, I also created a digital version. You can get these cards for free as a digital version, and what I did is I just grabbed the digital version and I dropped it into a platform like Mural and then had these conversations with my team. Now, just as a quick example of how this conversation could go, or just to demonstrate, I'll do some of here on my desk, but then also show you in the digital world in Mural how I did this for myself. So for example, I love curiosity. As you know, I start my videos off with this exploration topic, and curiosity really motivates me. I also appreciate the freedom for me, it's really important to be free to do what I'm able to do. And as you hear, I'm kind of trying to talk through this. And this is also what happens when you have a conversation with your teammates. For me, on the one hand, is also, and you don't have to follow a specific sequence. I'm less excited about power. I don't have to have that big parking spot to be motivated. Status, maybe less so. Honor, for example, is super important. Acceptance is important, especially when I collaborate with folks. I definitely appreciate goal. I'm less stressed about order, for example. Relatedness is there, but then also mastery is very important to me. So I'm going to flip this back into the digital world, and now you can see an example of all these motivators all in line and shaped up in a sequence that I believe in. Now, what is really interesting about this and why I recommend you maybe do this in the digital space is that you can save this, keep it separately, because what happens now is that you can do a follow-up, right? So let's say you collaborate with a team member, or they go out and they do a project. Maybe you have a one-on-one session again, and you can then call or bring this original kind of element back, and you can interrogate this. So at the moment, we're looking at my original kind of flow that I did a couple of seconds ago. And let's say, for example, I was working on a project for my boss and it was less exciting. And then perhaps we could have a conversation, or I can reflect on why I didn't feel as motivated on this project. So maybe this project was specifically very prescriptive. So what I will do in this case is I will move the curiosity element down in the vertical space. So it doesn't have to be precise, but I'm just moving it down to say, yeah, I mean, this didn't really motivate me because there wasn't really space to kind of explore, interpret different things. Now, on the other side, maybe the goal wasn't clear and I wasn't really sure what I was working towards, and I can move the goal down a little bit. So, and it doesn't all have to be negative. Perhaps I learned a new skill and I'll move the mastery element up again. So you can see that I'm trying to kind of investigate how this project either motivated me or demotivated me, or perhaps a combination of that. And you can do this same exact example with your teammates, of course. And it kind of gives you a visual indication of what is currently motivating or demotivating that specific team member. And that is how easy it is. In my opinion, I don't think it has to be even more complicated than that. It's just really gets you to some really meaningful conversations, really understanding what people value and how they see different motivators and the definitions around that, and then what impact you, your team, your organization has on a specific team member. There you have it. Once again, Moving Motivators. You can grab a copy of this. If you appreciate physical copies like I do, you can grab a copy of the cards that I've just showed you at management3.0.com. They have all kinds of interesting tools there, and you can get this digital version for free. All you have to do is submit your email address and they'll send you probably a couple of newsletters now and then. I have not found the content disturbing. It's kind of useful, and maybe you want to get into more tools because they have more tools. I bought a couple from them, to be honest. And yeah, you can grab this and start using it today. You don't have to watch this video. You can just pause it and go download it. However, you might also want to know where you can use this. So I have used my own team as a specific example, but this is great for team building, especially when you start sharing the conversations or the insights more with each other. Maybe you could use this with performance reviews. Change management could be interesting to kind of implement this. Team alignment, and then also kind of gathering more insight as a manager, which I think this has helped me a little bit to move in the right direction. So there you have it. Would love to know if you have used Moving Motivators before. I don't think this is a too uncommon tool. I think it's kind of set in the whole agile tool set, so you might have come across this before. What do you think of it? Is there maybe something that you think is even more valuable but still simple for old Vanya to use? And as always, Moving Motivators, go to movingmotivators.com to grab a copy. And then thank you for watching, and catch you in the comments.